economics needs to be, modern economics needs to be rethought with land as its foundation, not as something that you get to on page 372 of the textbook. And the laws governing our relationship with land in particular are the laws that govern our harmonious relationship with the world that we live in. They govern our capacity to express our creativity in physical terms. They govern our capacity to live well. They govern our capacity to experience well-being without doing so at the expense of others, either other people or the rest of nature. So the call is really for a new economics. In the school, we've developed, or tried to develop this, and we work really on 4 founding principles. The first of which is love of truth and justice. The 4 are love of truth and justice, learning and teaching, voluntary service, and openness. And love of truth and justice is important because, and indeed it's the leading principle. The real essence of the love of truth is that it keeps one constantly on inquiry, because it's clear that it is difficult to arrive at truth as a sort of concrete finality. To say once and for all, this is the truth, and nothing shall gainsay it. I think it was Lawrence Durrell who observed in one of his novels that truth is that which will endure when there is no one to care whether it endures or not. Discovering it, finding it, arriving at it is an important part, I think, and we think in the school, of human development and the human quest. But its most important feature is that it keeps one on inquiry. That it is necessary to keep asking, is this true? Is this real? Is this the final answer? And so philosophy, the love of wisdom, becomes not an end, but a process. A constant inquiry into the world around us, into our own nature, a constant discovery, and a constant development. And it's really guided by justice. And particularly in economics, we would say, well, if the outcome of an understanding of economic principle or economic law or economic policy is evidently unjust, then we've misunderstood something somewhere, or we've misapplied it, and we need to revise it. And that gives quite a good guide that the economics that is currently practiced, taught, and understood may have some errors in it which need to be reviewed. And that's not to say that we know what those errors are, but at least we can say that we know that there are errors there, and we're looking for them to see how they might be corrected. And as I think is probably common ground here, one of those errors is clearly the failure to recognise the central importance of land in economics and our understanding of economics. Learning and teaching is an important principle because obviously we are a school. Our purpose is to teach. And so we run courses. We run courses in economics and we run courses in philosophy. And our economics courses go into more detail in the way that I've been outlining just now. And our philosophy courses, we hope, open up the whole process of human development, and people can take them as far as they wish and for as long as they wish. And we have found considerable guidance in those from the Indian tradition, where from which we received the practice of meditation and methods of inquiry into those deeper realms of human spirit and understanding. And we try, as students of philosophy, and remain students of philosophy however long we keep going, to pass it on as best we can by both learning and teaching. And so our courses are run so that what is discovered is passed on as a kind of living process of discovery. At least that's what we try to do. And that is enhanced by the simple principle of voluntary service. That in order to receive in this world, it is important to give, and to give voluntarily and freely. And so voluntary service is a key feature of the way that the school works, not only in the delivery of courses, but in the way that we provide catering facilities, bookshop facilities, look after our buildings, and so on. The Festival Art in Action, which I referred to a few minutes ago, is staffed almost entirely by volunteers. About 500 a day turn up to provide for the needs of the demonstrators and artists and so on. And the result is a quality to the event, which is a little bit special, although I say so myself. It's special because it's founded in love and service, and people are just simply looked after. The people who come, the visitors and demonstrators, are astonished by it. There were several observations last week about the fact that at the theatre, we have a theatre, open-air theatre where various performances take place. It wasn't simply that the water was made available on those very hot days, on particularly Thursday and Friday and Saturday, but that it was actually being handed round by volunteers. It just gives a little added quality to the event. And that's the spirit of voluntary service, which is central to the way that the school works. And the fourth principle is openness. We aim to be open to anyone who wants to come and try. And so we do our utmost to make our courses available to anyone who wants to participate. And that's in the round what the school is about and how it works. As far as our economics is concerned, I think there are four main principles, or four principles among many, which around which the whole thing is based. I refer to one, that man is a land animal, and therefore we grow our economics, as it were, from the ground up, from the human relationship with land, and that has consequences which I'm sure you're all familiar with. The second is that the guide to economics is justice, the simple will to render to everyone their due. And to put it in Georgist and even Marxist terms, their due is at the very least the full fruits of their labour, that they should get a proper return for their efforts. And we regard it as in a way unnatural, that people should be working to create wealth which ends up in somebody else's pocket, except, of course, by means of free and fair exchange. So justice is the guide. I've already referred to the view of man as a social being. It is well known. Indeed, even contemporary economics is founded on that view, that human beings in cooperation are much more productive than human beings on their own. And that, of course, has its consequences which are well recognised. What is less well recognised, and what is probably recognised in this company, is that that fact of man being a social being gives rise to a social interaction with the land and environment, which results, or which manifests as laws which have considerable implications for the way that economics actually works. And the last I've also referred to is the principle of development, that human beings are not just land animals, they are human and they are beings, and that aspect of humanity also needs to be developed. So the notion of economics for conscious evolution is in a way a description of what the school is aiming at. And so we're absolutely delighted to have a conference with that title and that subject matter here in this building. Because, as I say, it is so close to our hearts. It is, in a way, what we are really about. But economics is not just about a status quo. It's not just about getting as much as we can out of the physical world.
but that it's actually about getting as much as we can out of human nature and its possibilities. That economic life lays the foundation for a life of fulfillment and well-being for human beings in harmony with nature, as part of nature. Indeed, it's possibly arguable that the human contribution to the whole natural ecology is to do with just that well-being. That where people live happily and naturally, nature lives happily and naturally, without stress,
devastation, without damage, without misuse. And so the subject matter of this conference is all important. It seems to me it is all about how, as human beings, we can learn to live fully and naturally. And so I'm really here to welcome you, to give you an outline. These are the sort of considerations that occur in this building day in, day out, from year to year. And it's very, very good indeed that you should come and participate and add to these deliberations and play a part in what we like to think this building is really for. So you're very welcome here. I do hope the conference goes well and that it is fulfilling and that it is productive of new and creative thought about economics and how economics may apply in the world we live in now. So thank you very much for being here. I do hope you enjoy being here. I hope you enjoy the facilities. Thank you for coming.